When you've hosted a show as long as I have, you meet a lot of interesting people with interesting perspectives. And so as I wind down my duties here on Greater Boston, we're inviting some of our standout guests back on the show. We're calling it a version of my weekly radio segment known as Emily's List. My guest tonight goes way back with me. I was news director at Channel 5 in the early 1990s, and he was representing several of our on-air sportscasters, including, I believe, Mike Dowling. Steve Freyer is the president of Freyer Management Associates, which represents media personalities and professional athletes. Welcome back to Greater Boston to talk about anything but, you know, concussions and NFL tragedies. And all right, I'm going to take you back. It was January 17th, 1990. You were in my office at Channel 5. I was anxious to get home because it was well past the 6 o'clock news. This guy is jawing and jawing and jawing about some, you know, spoiled anchor. No, I love both.
Spoiled rotten anchor.
I loved Mike Dowling and Mike Lynch. And then all of a sudden, what happened?
I said, well, I talked to my client this afternoon, and he said he's going to be seeing you tonight anyway, so he's sure you're going to fill him in. And you got that jack-lighted deer look on your face, and
I said, what do you mean?
Uh-oh, I think I just blew something.
Yeah. It's my 40th, it was the day of my 40th birthday. I'm wearing the most god-awful outfit. I don't even know why I had something like that in my closet. And suddenly I realized I went ashen. I'm going home. There are 200 people at my house, and he has just spoiled. I mean, I had not a clue until that second.
But you have to
my husband, Kirby Perkins, put that together for me.
But it prepared you for it. So at least you knew what you were walking into.
I was going to try to sneak in the back door to change my outfit, but anyway. We've laughed about that many times over the years.
I have to give you credit. I don't want to lay on this too long, but the fact that you've been able to do this show for so long and do 3 segments a night, 4 days a week, is just mind-boggling. And it's a credit to you. Mm-hmm. You're about the only person I know in the industry who had an extremely successful career behind the camera and then have been able to be in front of the camera. So you're going to be missed.
They've both been a lot of fun, although this one has been especially rewarding. I always say to people, it's better to be your own something than somebody's something. And when you're behind the camera, you offer somebody something. But I want to talk about you for a minute, because you have been such a voice of reason here for almost 2 decades that we've done this. And you speak with such an ease and calm. And I'm wondering, I know you were in sports yourself, and a lot of guys in sports don't see the other side of things. They don't see behavior. They don't see greed. They don't see. How did you balance it out?
I really think I was born that way because I've always had an ability to see both sides of the ledger. And one of the things I was very successful in avoiding in my career was the disease that sometimes befalls agents where they think they're the star. And I'm fairly anonymous out there. Very few people know who I am or what I do. And that's because I'm working for my client. And my objective is to get
Scott Boras?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And others.
Yeah.
And the reality is the client is the star, not the agent. And if you don't hear about me and you don't know what I'm doing, that means I'm kind of like a good referee or a good umpire. You did a good game, you got the deal done.
But you've also been, I guess, even beyond that, a spokesperson for the industry that you love, which is sports, sports management, sports playing. And yet, a lot of the people who are in the thick of it can't see some of you've been here, I don't know, if you could count maybe 50 times, maybe 60?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Or maybe more, I don't know. And on any subject that we want to talk, from the gamut of behaviors to rules to everything, to whether the Olympics are viable, this is something you've been able to cut through.
I think before I got it really active in the representation business, I got a good education. I have to give Colby credit because
Colby, that's right.
You know, the former president of Colby said the value of a liberal arts education is it helps you understand when people are speaking bunk. And then I was a banker for 8 years. And when you're a banker, you kind of begin to understand how the world works. And I brought that discipline into the sports business.
And you're a lawyer?
No, I'm not. I'm a finance guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And in fact, some people have commented that may help me because lawyers have a tendency to think in an adversarial way. When I walk into a contract negotiation, I'm trying to figure out a way to get the deal done. And I'm trying to figure out what your objectives are and match them to our objectives. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes things break down. But I'm very proud of the fact that I went hand to hand with Harry Sinden for years and years and years, and we ultimately got deals done.
And then you actually broke into the news business, and you still haven't named people because you like to, you know, it's not my place to out them. No, they're wonderful people that you represent. But did that just come as a natural next step? You started negotiating with people like me, and you realized, hey, I can help other people on your team.
It actually, it was a walk-on. In 1981, I got a call from a friend who said he is a friend of Bruce Schwegler, the old meteorologist on Channel 4. And Bruce was my first client. And it just built from Bruce. Bruce yapped a lot, and I get 90% of my clients from referrals. John Keller, one of your regulars on Beat the Press, is a long-term client, and he's been very, very helpful in spreading the word about me to his pals. So it's been a symbiotic relationship. Now,
you were, briefly, as I recall, somewhere in the professional sports world yourself.
I had a cup of coffee with the Denver Broncos in 1968. And that probably more than anything else, that helped me get into the sports business because I was able to turn to the athletes and say, I wasn't there long, but I did collect a couple of paychecks, and I do understand what it is to play professionally, and I understand some of the issues involved, and that helped.
And the ego of it, I mean, it really is. Even, I don't care how briefly you were there, you were an NFL player.
Yeah. No
one can take that away from you, and it's like, but so you can understand their egos. It's such a niche.
It was pretty cool, and it was brief, but it was exciting.
I've had some brief moments in my career, too. That's okay. It's still on my resume.
But my wife says I should charge admission for people to watch me get out of bed in the morning.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, just pieces keep falling out and so forth.
No concussions, though?
No, I had two.
Oh.
And on that subject, I will say to you, and football was my sport, I'm worried about football. And I am worried about the concussion issue. And it's not that the game has changed, it's the players have changed. And they're bigger, and they're stronger, and they're faster. And the capacity of the brain to accept blows hasn't changed. But the power of the blows that the brain is being asked to accept now is much more when I was playing. And I was invited down to Gillette Stadium when it opened, and they let me get down on the field, and I was standing around these guys. And I'm not small, I'm 6'2½", and I'm standing around these guys, and it was unbelievable.
Dwarfed you. Yeah.
Scary. And
well, it's good that somebody like you is outspoken on the issue, because I have to say the NFL, as you know, has not been, and even our own team here, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, have been fairly dismissive of the whole issue.
As recently as 15 years ago, the National Hockey League didn't even track concussions. Just wasn't on their radar. So the fact that light is being shined on it is very, very important. What they're going to do about it, I don't know. I don't know whether they can build a helmet that will help, but it's a little bit scary for my sport.
Steve Freyer, thanks for being on Emily's List.
Emily, thank you.